Hi everybody, welcome back. If you're new here, hi, I'm Mercury. So today I am still on Icon of the Seas, and this morning I took a tour of the Central Park area of Icon of the Seas about their garden and their I guess horticulture is the right word, about all the plants and all of the lovely growing greenery that they have on board in the Central Park area. And I got a lot of really good information. So I didn't want to film the guide. I just, that's his job. I didn't want to film him at work. So I'm going to share with you some of the information that I learned while taking that tour and show you around the Central Park area. So let's take a look. So the Central Park area is lush and covered in a lot of greenery up on the walls, down below, colors, flowers. There's a lot of different living plants on board this ship. Generally speaking, this is also one of the quieter areas of the ship. It is outdoors, but it's designed to be like a park, right? It's a little escape, a little reprieve. So it's very mellow here also. So Central Park is located on deck 8 of Icon of the Seas. And this is one of the sort of planter beds. So you'll notice all of these planters, they're in these little pods, right? Like, let's see. See this one, it's sort of like a triangle shape. And then there's ones behind it that are more square or rectangular. And each plant is in its own little pod. Now the way it was described to us, each of those little planter pods, they sort of fit together like Legos. So they're specific to the planter beds and the types of flowers that are in them. The person who led the tour was part of the landscaping team on the ship, and they did not do the design, they do the maintenance. So basically the landscape team on the ship did not decide which plant goes where, but they can make changes with permission. So they have to follow the design, almost like if you ever worked in retail and you had to follow a planogram to like put the product out. It's kind of the same with the plants. They have to put the plants in the right spot. They also have to maintain the plants and make sure that they're getting the right amount of water, the right amount of sunshine. And what I asked is that, does it ever flood and pool? Because, obviously it looks like there's, drainage, but there's only so much. And what I was told is that these planter beds are all elevated. So if the drainage ever has any issues, they're not going to be soaking and sitting in excess water. So they have a little bit of a cushion to get the drainage fixed if there's ever an issue with that. The other thing I learned is that this tree, this one in particular, this tree right here, this tree is the largest tree on a cruise ship. Now, even though it's the largest tree on a cruise ship, they still have to trim it and prune it and keep it within reason because there is wind. There is wind, and they have to prevent the tree from falling over, being damaged, so they have to keep the maintenance up on the tree. They don't want it to get so tall that it topples over or causes damage or become a fire risk. They have to take all of that into consideration in the maintenance of these plants. The other thing that we talked about as we walked along was also that some of these plants, like this is wind damage. This is not from insects. So you'll see like these shreds in these leaves right here. These were damaged by wind, and they may have to be moved with approval to an area that is getting less wind because of what's happening to the leaves. You could see on these, you can also see on these leaves, it's happening as well. The other thing that they noted that causes damage to these plants commonly, I hate to say it, but the littles. And looking for the cruise ducks. We all love the cruise ducks. This is not a knock on cruise ducks, and even our tour guide said this is not a knock on the cruise ducks because our tour guide likes the cruise ducks. But Central Park is also a popular place for people to hide ducks. But unfortunately, sometimes kids will get into the plant beds and damage or harm the plants. So if you're out there and you have kids and or an adult, right, and you're looking for a cruise duck, please don't do it please don't do it in the plant beds. Please don't climb in the plant beds. They're beautiful. They take a lot of work to sort of keep them healthy and they're living things. They're living things. So treat them with the respect you would treat another living thing. Another feature on Icon of the Seas, which is unique, are these living walls. So they have plants actually growing up the side of the wall in Central Park. So you'll notice this is alongside where these like infinite balcony rooms are. This goes right alongside of those. And somebody asked if the plants would ever grow on like the shutters that are part of those balconies, and they said no, because those shutters get too hot from the sun beating on them. The living wall is underneath this archway, which keeps it shaded and temperature controlled. So that way these plants can not just tolerate, but thrive in these conditions. But they did mention that they had a little irrigation issue, and it caused some of the plants to not do so well. I probably wouldn't have noticed it if it wasn't pointed out, but now that I saw it, I can't unsee it. So on this living wall, there are a few spots that are struggling. And what they told us is that the bucket system that they use is under repair. So actually, you see the track right above the living wall? It actually loops all around the top of Central Park and all around to this side, and it sort of lives in that hole by that living wall. And that bucket, instead of going from bottom up, it goes top down, and that's how they do the maintenance on the two living walls over here. And then there's also, on this end of Central Park, two more living walls at that entrance. And the bucket system, you could see the track goes all the way down and all the way around. They said they got the irrigation system fixed. They just have to get in there and do the maintenance on the plants that are up there. And he also showed us what the modules that the plants on the living wall look like. So I'll insert that clip right here. So he was telling us that these different modules, this is foam, and that each one of these plants is in a foam module, and then the irrigation system runs up right alongside and keeps the foam moist, and that is where they're drawing their moisture and nutrients from. I thought that was so fascinating. I asked if it was like considered aquaponics or hydroponics, and he said no, it's neither of those. The last area of Central Park that we stopped at was over here by Izumi. So unlike other ships, Izumi is located in the Central Park area on this ship. So the thought behind the design process on this was that because Izumi is a Japanese restaurant, it's a sushi and hibachi restaurant, they wanted this to reflect greenery that would make you think or feel like a Japanese landscape. So they kept it very green, and they did not put color in this area intentionally. And the thing that I like is they have this, it's artificial, but they have a metal cherry blossom, and this is like the only pop of color right over here, and it's gorgeous. And I think it complements the Central Park area very, very well. So that is the bit of knowledge that I gained taking a tour of the Central Park area on Icon of the Seas. So I hope you enjoyed that. I enjoyed taking the tour and getting to see and learn all these things about the ship, and I really found it wonderful. There's so many opportunities to like learn more about the ship when you're on board. So I guess with that, I am done for the day. I'll see you all real soon, and until then, stay inspired by everyone. Take care.